All right, guys, so welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to go over subnetting. Subnetting. I want to explain to you guys the easiest possible way to subnet, the easiest possible way. I've coined it the magic number method, and we'll get straight into this right now. So let's go straight in. All right, guys, so welcome back. So let's talk about subnetting, everyone's favorite topic in networking, right? So when it comes to subnetting, you're going to be asked a certain number of questions, right? Some of the questions you're going to be asked is the number of hosts. That's one question. You're going to be asked what's the network address, the network, the broadcast as well. Like these are things that you're going to be asked, right, to find. So the network, the broadcast, the number of hosts. I'll put here the total number of hosts, and then I'll put here the usable number of hosts. So that's what you're going to be looking for. And then also in terms of that, there are some, I think that pretty much covers that. And then I would say the last thing is also the range. So like the range of the subnet, I guess. I would put like something to this regard. And then you would be like, you'd get like an IP range or something like that. So they're looking for an IP range. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. And that's kind of what you need to be looking for. So now let's kind of just like quickly sort of just jump in here real quick. So basically the given, so most likely you're going to be given maybe in like an IP address or something to that regard. So you're going to be given probably an IP. And the IP can just be 192.168.10. Let's just say 10 dot, let's just say 40. So you're given this range, and then you may be also given a subnet, like slash 28. So now you're given this, and you're asked, hey, how can we find the how can we subnet this, right? So basically, you're going to essentially want to look for everything here. You need to find everything here, essentially, right? Everything here is what you're going to be working with. And what you need to find, right? These are the things that they're probably going to ask you. These are the top 5 things right here, okay? And these are the givens. You're either given an IP or subnet. And the question, if they give you an IP, then they're definitely going to ask you about the range. That's something you would have to know. If they're not giving you an IP, they may just ask you, hey, how many hosts are in this subnet, something to that regard. But this tactic is going to answer each one of those questions. So all you got to do is this simple formula. Let's just look at this subnet mask that you're given. We're given a slash 28. All you have to do is, and this example is going to be for class C addresses. All you have to do is 28 or 32, right? 32 is going to be the number we're going to be subtracting from because it's a class C address. So just remember that number for class C, and then we do 32 minus 28. And what does that give you? It gives you 4, right? So you got 4. And then all you have to do now is just 2 to the power of 4, which is all that is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, right? Which is going to give you 16. And that's pretty much it right there. That's the magic number that it gives you. And now all you have to do is create a table, right? You create this table right here, or I call it a T chart rather. So I'm gonna just go here. I create a T chart, and I'm on one side I'm gonna put network. On the other side, I'm going to put broadcast. Okay. I just put N and B. And then all I have to do is I'm just going to put a 0 here. This is the beginning. It's always going to be 0 here no matter what. You put 0 here. And all I have to do is now we have this number of 16. We're going to just add it by 16. 16 here. And then we're going to add by 30. We're going to do 32. We're going to keep adding by 16. Then we're going to do 48. And then we're going to keep going. And really, you want to keep going until this number is higher than the last octet, because this is a class C, right? So the last octet is 40. So we could pretty much stop right here. Now, all we have to do is on the broadcast side, we're just going to do 16 minus 1. We're always going to do this number minus 1. So 16 minus 1 is going to be what? 15. 32 minus 1 is going to be what? 31, right? 48 minus 1 is going to be 47. And then we could kind of just stop there, right? So that will cover that. Now, all you have to do in this particular case is look for this last octet and see where in this range does this last octet fall within. And as you can see, it falls within this range right here, right? This is where it falls within, right? So now this is what we're going to be looking at in particularly. So this is what is known as the range, the range of the IP subnet. So all this means is the range here is going to be from 192.168.10 and this last octet here, which is 40, we'll just do 32, right, to 47. So that is the range of the subnet. That's very simple. Now the network address is going to be 32, so we can put right here 32. The broadcast address is going to be 47. The number of hosts, right? Now we got to find the number of hosts. All the number of hosts is just this magic number here, by the way. So that magic number is going to be the total number of hosts, right? And then now the number of usable hosts is just going to be this magic number minus 2, which is going to be 14, right? And that's about it. It's that simple. That is how you subnet. And you pretty much do this. This is the easiest way I found, right? And just to review this, this is the given. This is what you're given, by the way. You're given this 192.168.16.10.4.40 /28. Then you do 32 minus 28, and that gives you 4. Then you do 2 to the power 4, that gives you 16. Then you create this table here, right, where you go 0, 15, 16, 31. You create this table. The first thing you do is 0. You keep adding by 16 here. 0, 16, 32, 48. And on this side, all you have to do is this number minus 1, you would put it here. This number minus 1, you would put it here. This number minus 1, you would put it here, right? And that's how you create this sort of T-chart, which gives you the network and broadcast address ranges. And then you just got to look at that last octet here. Once you look at this last octet and see where does it fall within this range, which is this one, then that's going to be your range of the subnet. Then you got your network address, you put it right here. Then your broadcast address, you put it right here. Then the total number of hosts is just going to be 16, right? This is already kind of gives you your answer, so you can kind of fill that in right away. And then the usable host, all that's going to be is 16 minus 2. But we're subtracting the network and the broadcast address because those two addresses are not usable addresses, spaces that you can use. So that's pretty much it. Very simple, right? So now let's go to another example. So now let's do this. So basically the things we're going to be looking for, or the things we're going to be looking for, is number of host. We'll say this is total, this is usable, number of hosts. We'll say broadcast, network, and what's the next thing we want to look for is the range, IP range. These are the things they want you to find. That's it. It's these 5 things. Now all you have to do is you're given an IP address now. So now let's pick a different IP. We're going to pick 10.50.20. Let's do I don't know, 100 slash. Actually, in this case, we're not going to use a slash. I'm going to do in dotted notation because sometimes you are given it in dotted notation. So we'll do, for this to be in dotted notation, it's going to be 255.255.255. Let's put this here. Sometimes you may be given, let's just get a dotted notation number. We'll do 224. Right? Sometimes you may be given it in dotted notation. So it's very simple. The process for dotted notation, all you have to do is 256 minus this last octet, right? So we're going to do 224. Then we got to find this number. So that's going to be, I believe, 32. My Apple Pencil is kind of messing up right now. That's why it's kind of drawing random lines, but let's go and do this real quick. So 32. And that's going to be your magic number. It's actually quicker to find your magic number here than using the slash notation. So now we have that. Basically, that's going to give us our total number of hosts. So that we've already gotten that down. Now, usable hosts, that's just going to be that same number here minus 2, which is going to be 30. And then now we just have to find the broadcast address. So basically, this is where you create that little T-chart, right? And you do network here, you do broadcast here, and we're going to be starting from 0, then going 32, 64. I'm adding by 32, right? 96, 128, right? So I'm basically just adding by 32, 32, 32, 32, 32, right? So now that I added everything by 32, essentially what I can do now is I can basically do this side, and I'll just do 32 minus 27, which is going to be 31, 64 minus 1, 63, right? So 32 minus 1, 31, 64 minus 1, 63, 96 minus 1, what is it going to be here? 95. 128 minus 1, what is that going to be? 127. And now we can stop. Why? Because the last octet here, the last octet is in this range right here, right? It's in this magic range right here. So now this is just going to be our IP range. So it's just going to be 10.50.20 from 96 to 127. Now the network address is just going to be 90. The broadcast is going to be 127.127, right? And what I mean by 127, I'm basically saying this. So if I go here, I'm basically saying, and it's probably better if I do it this way, just so you fully understand it. It's going to be, I'm just the last thing. Basically the last octet here, so 50.20.127, right? Just the last octet becomes that. And then here is going to be 10.50.20.96. And there we go. And now if they ever ask you what's the usable range, it's just going to be basically 10.50.20. Instead of 96, we can't use 96 as the broadcast. We'll just start off with 97, and we can't use 96 as the network. We have to use 97, and then 127 we can't use as the broadcast, so we'll do 126. So this is the usable range, actually. So I'll actually add this usable range. So that's maybe another thing they may ask you, is that usable range right there. Boom. So I'll go ahead and go to the other one. And the usable range here is just going to be the same thing. It's just going to be 33 to 46, right, on that last octet. And then same with this one, it's just going to be 192.168.1.10.14 here. And obviously the last octet here is going to be 47 on the broadcast. So that's pretty much how it works. It's that's networking for you. Hopefully this makes sense. This is how I've always done it. And just to recap, right? So step 1, you would just, if you're given in data notation, all you got to do is you would have to subtract 256 minus whatever this number is. If you're given it in slash notation, you would do 32 minus that number, which, right? And then you have the other step would be 2 to the power of 4, which would give you 16. And that gives you the magic number. And then to find the magic number here, all you have to do is just 256 minus 224. That'll give you 32, right? Very simple. Then that will give you the total number of hosts. Then you can find the usable hosts, and then you create this table here, and that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much something. That's how I like to do it. This is for Class C. It works for Class B. I'll make another video on Class B as well. But this is it, guys. Very simple, very easy to do. And hopefully this makes sense. And like I said, give it a go. Do some practice problems, and it'll work out for you. So thank you guys so much.